Been seeing a lot of news about Formula One racing? Well, there's a perfectly good reason for that. According to stats gathered via major social media platforms, F1 is the second fastest growing sport in the world, and we can't say we're surprised because we're hooked to it too. While it's all fun and games for us, F1 drivers face some major risks. Let's get right to it. First off, up for the challenge. Watching the F1 race is such a treat. Not only are we hanging on the edge of our seats, the adrenaline rush is just insane. It's the risk these drivers take which makes it an extreme sport. Controlling the car at such a high speed requires another kind of patience, dedication, and stamina. The F1 drivers face many challenges on and off the track, the biggest being the psychological one. Come to think of it, these guys are always at risk of an accident, so there's a threat which is very real, and something that we've often witnessed on television. To make sure that the drivers and the rest of the team are alright, there are psychologists around to manage them. Mental health is fast becoming a major concern in the F1 industry, and it's about time. The driver and the crew work so hard around the clock, with zero room for error. We can't even imagine the kind of toll that takes on somebody. Now we have the G-Force. We might find F1 racing to be the coolest and view the perks these drivers get enviously, but to be honest, there's a cost that they pay for these luxuries, and it's not a small one. Not everyone with good driving skills can be a Formula One driver. It is a constant job. They have to train continuously to be able to handle the sort of strain that this sport demands. Let us tell you that handling a car at 350 kilometers an hour ain't no easy feat, fellas. F1 drivers can feel up to 4 to 5 Gs of force while driving at more than 300 kilometers per hour. Want to know what can happen? A driver can get tunnel vision and faint due to the blood flowing to the brain. Now imagine the risk here. The driver has to maintain a speed of 350 plus kilometers per hour. He has to manage the twists and turns, maintain distance from other cars and all that, simultaneously. A second mistake could be fatal. Still not convinced it's a dangerous job? Look at it this way. An astronaut feels 3 Gs of force while launching into space, and we don't hear the end of it. We can't even imagine what the drivers must go through. And now they've got to save their neck, literally. To withstand the pressure that comes with this exciting yet risky job, F1 drivers go through extensive exercises, the most important being the neck exercises. According to a source, McLaren drivers can train using a helmet attached to pulleys which pull the neck from different angles. We're not gonna lie, we've stopped envying these poor fellas. We can't wrap our heads around this. As the sport is so physically taxing, all drivers have personal trainers who keep them in check and fit for the races. The neck is the most sensitive part of the body and can get easily sprained during such a tedious sport. Add to that the weight of the protective wear, and life for these guys just becomes harder. To avoid any injury on the track, each driver goes through strenuous exercises in order to prepare for the race. To be honest, all this training talk sounds so demanding and exhausting. We don't think we'd be able to take this up as a sport. What about you? Next, burning passion? Maybe they like the way it hurts. Yeah, that's right. We have another culprit creating problems for these daredevils. At this point, what else can we call them? We bet you guys have seen Formula cars catching fire. Horrible, ain't it? Well, the F1 team agrees, but the possibility of a crash and fire cannot be ruled out. So, the driving suits that the drivers wear are multi-layered and are fireproof. This means that the drivers face extreme heat while inside the car. There was an incident with one of the F1 drivers, Kevin Magnussen, where hot air from the radiator leaked into the cockpit inside of the car, and he suffered minor burns and almost blacked out. Now that's scary. Want to know another fun fact about F1 drivers? They often have to face dehydration. The 500 milliliter bottle fit into the car is hardly enough for the driver, and more than that cannot be allowed as it adds weight to the car, and like all other jobs in the world, performance is preferred over the driver's comfort. I mean, just imagine having to survive 2 hours in a 50-degree temperature with only a little water, and that almost boiling. The only thing missing from the bottle is tea, y'all. Just add that and these guys can have a hot cuppa. So we'll just be selfish and say that F1 drivers lose 2 to 4 kilograms after every race, and man do they do everything at such a high speed. Seems losing weight is just as fast as their cars. And now, gotta have muscle to hustle. You thought going to the gym is hard? What if we tell you that F1 drivers put 60 kilograms of force on the brake pedal more than 200 times during a race? How you like that, huh? Basically, that's like doing more than 200 reps on the leg press at one time. Oh, what a joy. What's more is that when turning, 15 kilograms of force is required for about more than 800 times. We certainly think F1 drivers are more fit than any other athletes. What do you think? Drivers have to be at peak physical fitness during races, and to train for that, they perform a number of exercises to train different parts of their body. For example, they use resistance bands to exercise their necks to the point that they can move around 35 kilograms or more with it. Arms are trained with pull-ups, press-ups, and bench presses so that their biceps, triceps, and arms can withstand the G-force when turning. Sounds like a lot of effort, and we're in awe, honestly. Legs are one of the most important assets a driver has, and he has to apply immense pressure while applying brakes. Commonly, deadlifts, squats, and box jumps are done, but the exercises keep varying. F1 drivers have to have knee pads on, as the 800-kilogram car is quite compact. With a small space in the cockpit and the amount of force that the driver experiences, chances are are that his legs will get thrown about a lot. So to avoid any injury, F1 drivers have to wear knee pads. They're just piling stuff on now, if you ask us. To all the F1 enthusiasts, a word of caution: too much effort required. Next, is weight loss a problem? In order to win more races and keep the car at its peak performance, F1 drivers need to be their ideal or at an even lower weight than that. This is very straining as the sport requires minimum weight on the car. Several players have raised concerns regarding this in their career, as they've had to lose a lot of weight in order to compensate for the better chance of winning or enhance performance. This is a major health risk and one that can affect their health long after they've retired. Weight loss is a must in this sport because the lighter you are, the faster you can go. Sometimes that's just not possible, even if a driver is in ideal form, because another driver might be lighter. We're all aware that there's an ideal weight for every person, and going below that poses a risk to our health. These drivers go through all this and even risk their health in order to provide us with entertainment and become the top player in the sport. Truly, F1 racing is no small feat, and we believe there's always an extra mile that the driver needs to go in order to perform better. And finally, we have strapping lads. Strapping lads as they are, they also have to be literally strapped into the car to make sure that they don't tumble around. With little suspension around them, their torsos are strapped to the seats to ensure limited movement. This goes on for 2 whole hours. The crew cannot buckle any other part of their body, as that, too, is a safety risk. These guys gotta be in top shape while at the job, not to mention all the muscle problems that they can develop in the long term, being exposed to such strenuous routines. While we love the game, we do hope these passionate F1 drivers could get better odds for their health and safety. The F1 board takes all this quite seriously and has been working to improve the conditions for the drivers as well as crew. Let's all hope that sanity prevails and that we can continue to be entertained, but with better working conditions for these guys. Did you know that F1 drivers are at risk of all these illnesses? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one!